Okay, I'll make this YouTube video for you. I hope this helps you out. So to get to the portal, you can go to www.office.com or portal.office.com. There's a slight difference. When you go to Office, it's more generic. When you go this route, it's a little more generic. Now, it auto-logged me in. So you can see up here, here's my name, and I can check my profile, my account. I can sign out. So what is the portal? The portal, when I first encountered the portal in 2014, after I got the job in India and Limestone with your help, they had the portal, and I used the portal primarily just for this button up here to install Office 2014 at that time. But the portal has expanded massively since then. So you basically, let's go to admin here, and you can administrate the entire company network, and you can integrate the portal to the local Active Directory. If you think back to Carlisle days, we had the Active Directory. We had to go in there and delete people and change people, moving over in that little directory you had where we had the deleted users and we disabled them. You can link that to the portal. So you can see over here in billing, subscriptions. So basically you have a vendor that helps you set up. Now you want to make sure that your portal is somewhat vendor independent, because there are different grades of these portals, and some of them are lower grade where you're tied to that vendor and you can't get away from them. You can only buy from that vendor. Now this portal is one grade up, and for example, I can buy, if I want to buy Business Essentials, I can add or remove licenses here. And it's going to come up the screen, and if you see over here, it shows me that I can purchase these licenses, and I can purchase them from either Microsoft or from the vendor that helped me set up the portal. So here's the bills, so you can manage all your billing here. Shows you all your billing. So everything's here. You have your licenses. Shows you how many licenses you have. I have 27 Exchange. I have 40 Business Essentials. Business Essentials is cloud only. You have Excel in the cloud, you have Word in the cloud, you have Access in the cloud, PowerPoint, it's all in the cloud. You can only use it through a web browser. You do not download it and have it locally. The Office 365 Business Premium, you can. You see I have 64 and I've assigned 55. Power BI, that's kind of like Hummingbird of old, but it's not quite. But Power BI is free, and you can assign that to users. SharePoint is SharePoint Plan 2, that's for extra drive space. Microsoft gives you a default of 1 terabyte per user. Google gives you 100 meg, but Microsoft on their side, they give you a terabyte per user. But if you want more space, you have to go to a SharePoint Online Plan 2, and I had assigned this one to me, to an admin, and another user, just is really generic, 2 generic users and myself to have drive space to store files. In Visio for Pro, we have 1 license. Purchasing services here. See here, we got ours through Ben Lyon, and he got it through this partner, Cinex. See, and you notice here it says you can purchase through your CSP partner here, or if you, this is the important part, or if you would like to purchase a subscription directly from Microsoft, please place an order below using the Purchase Services page. And you can go down here and you can see here, I can buy a license right from Microsoft. That's what I'd recommend you do. You can get a little bit of a discount from your vendor, but I don't know this for a fact, but I'm always a little leery that I want to make sure that this is an agreement between me and Microsoft, not some intermediary that if we get into a disagreement, they can suddenly shut down my whole business. So in the case of the hospital, you probably want to tier up from where we're at right here. But you can see I can buy it from Cinex. They're out there in Silicon Valley. Or I can just buy it. And 90% of the time, I'm probably costing them more money than I need to, but I buy it directly from Microsoft. They can save you maybe $1 a license. And that's not something to sniff at per month. But I feel better buying it directly from Microsoft. And you can see you can get free trials and everything here. So under billing, you see your subscriptions, your bills, your licenses, your purchase services, and your billing notifications. It's all there. And you can receive billing statement as email attachment. or we will send your billing statement attached with a separate email. And you can pick who you want your notification recipients are here. So you can get your billing statement as an email attachment. I just basically, it's just charged against my credit card. My credit card's in here, so all these are charged. So if I want, we're in the small business suite. You might be in the enterprise suite because we're a small company. So you see here, if I want to buy this premium license, I just purchase it. And then what I'll do after I purchase that license, if I go up to users, active users, so it's very easy to manage. So here we have, and we're still in the Office 365 Admin Center, and you see all the users we have here. And if I want to add somebody, just click Add User, and we'll just pick okay. And you put display name in. Now this is kind of a point here. Notice that this domain is not the domain I want. I want that domain. When Microsoft set this up, they set up this default this way. And I had to jump through a lot of hoops, and I have some videos on this to get to this domain name. This domain name is the email address, and it isn't. It's really more or less an Azure domain name right now. But eventually I'm going to tie and graft the email section of Exchange onto this Azure domain name as well. So you can create that, and you can also, there's something down here that's kind of interesting. You can create users, and by the way, if you don't see a bar over here, you have to use your mouse scroll bar to get down. And you see, you can say create user without product license. And so if you're setting up a lot of people in advance and you don't know how you want to assign them, if you want them to have, you see these various licenses they could have here. They have Business Premium, or they can have Business Essentials. Business Essentials is the cloud-only version. You can set the person up without a product license in advance. I'm going to hit cancel there. You can set up guest users, things of this sort. Let's go back to 365 itself. So what's the advantage of having 365? So for example, you can have your mail here. So for the Business Essential people, this is how they're going to get mail. And notice you have to sign into the portal. And so we're through the portal here. I may be signing on as John Smith because it's one of my test users. And I'm using BitTitan, which is a whole other video I'm taking the data lake, the lake of data, the data lake in Google, and I'm using a product called BitTitan to migrate from Google to Microsoft. And I'm telling you, I've become an expert on that through a trial by fire. And we're going to go live at September 15th. So here's Outlook in the cloud, or the Outlook in the portal. And it's pretty friendly. I mean, it's not as feature rich as the Outlook local that you'd have for your professional staff, your medical staff, your accounting staff, etc. But for general people on tablets, and you can download with Windows Surface Pro 4, which are really good, and there's a special case I buy for them that are really good, that you can basically run this on any terminal. So the advantage here is that people can gain access to their data from any computer, which of course with medical data can be somewhat problematic, but there's some safeguards you can put in for that as well. You can actually tell people what IP address they can log into from. That might be a separate video. So if we go back to Office 365, and this again is, so everyone who has Office 2016 loaded locally in this scheme also has the ability to use the cloud version of it. If you're Business Essentials, you only have Business Essentials. You don't have this Office 2016 option. But if you're an accountant or an IT manager, you can use both. So you can see you can use Word, and Word will come up. Again, you have to sign into the portal. And you can turn on two-step authentication, which and right now I've logged in last night, so it still remembers me. And you can see here, I want to open this document in the cloud. This is stored on OneDrive. And it's going to come up here in a second. And this is a script I was using to fix the registry key. This is kind of an important, I have a video on this, because sometimes you have to run this script if you take people from one domain, one Azure Active Directory domain, and move them to another. You have to run this script to clean off the machine so they can attach to the new domain. That's a whole other ball game here. So you have Word. Go back here. A couple things real quick. You have OneDrive. That's where you have your storage. And it's doing this because I'm logged into Walden's portal at the same time I'm here. That's why it's acting kind of funny. And you see I have all these directories. And what I did here, I'm making really a basic 1980s style file server because that's all they want. And so here's this is the old Empire server down there in Chad's building. And so I'm backing up data here. And and then I share that out. So let me just find an old folder here, this backup 2017, and see up here I can share it. And I can put their names in here. Now this is the kind of the old way of doing this, but this is how we're doing it right now. You really need to have this link to Azure Active Directory, and I'll show you in a moment how this is better. So OneDrive is basically just basic file server space. It's almost 1980s. I know that's before your time. It's almost 1980s folders and file space, and you just give people access to it, and that's pretty much what it is. It's very simple. It's easy to set up. It's quick and easy. A little bit harder to manage because you're managing by folder versus Active Directory. So I'll shut that down. So that's your OneDrive. So you can make a folder and you can share it out. And each user gets 1 terabyte. So that's OneDrive. SharePoint is right next to it. So SharePoint is and isn't part of OneDrive. So SharePoint is how you can basically organize all your folders and files. And this isn't like the SharePoint that Wellman had. This is much more advanced now. And you can see I have training videos here. And again, I have the Gargoyle server over here that I can link through. It's the group. And I can link groups, and within the group, for example, you can have access to parts of OneDrive. You have site contents, homes, documents, notebooks, pages, and here's the accounting public. That's a shared OneDrive that's going through SharePoint. See, there it is. So that actually is a OneDrive link that I've linked through a SharePoint overlay. So, you could have a site, a SharePoint site set up, and if you go on the internet, you'll see a lot of people using it now. And you can set up these types of sites and have nice graphics, and you can have, once you get to it, you can have documents, conversations. It's very, very advanced. You can get into Outlook through it. So SharePoint's also there, and that's a whole slew of videos. And they have all these other tools here as well. But the takeaway here is, and they even have Dynamics 365. We're on Dynamics AX at ILCO, and eventually we're going to migrate into, from a hosted version up there in Carmel, we're going to migrate into the version in the cloud. Now, I'll tell you one good thing about this whole setup. Microsoft really tech support is much better than you can imagine. Most of it comes out of India, but that's no problem. And they will call you back. I'd say well under a half hour, you're going to get a call back. And the good thing is, they own the problem. This is in their portal. This is not loaded locally, and you've done something and they don't know what you did. No, those days are over. They own the problem. If you have a problem with OneDrive or Yammer or anything, they own it. Now, I use a product called GoodSync, and I have it running here. And I'll close on this. So that's the power of the portal. So in an environment, this is how you're going to license and manage people, is through the portal. And I'd have to do a whole series of videos, and I'd be happy to help you out. How you can link this to Azure, and I can show you that briefly just so you get an overview. But let me show you GoodSync real quick. And this is kind of an important note. I can find it here in real time. So, and GoodSync's just kind of a run-of-the-mill program I found, but it's not so important here. So here it is. I've loaded it locally, and with GoodSync, see, I'm backing up a Google Drive to a OneDrive, and so this computer is actually pulling the data down, and it's going back up, and that can be tedious on you. It can be wearing on your bandwidth. But here's the important thing. Just because this data on OneDrive is here, that doesn't mean it's backed up. It's backed up to a point, but Microsoft's not going to do a grandfathering backup. So you're going to have to set up a scheme, and I'm using GoodSync because it was very inexpensive. And I'm basically backing up from Google Drive to OneDrive. So as a disaster recovery, you can depend on, the restore capabilities that Microsoft has. I think it's good for 31 days. But again, if I go in and change an Excel file and save it, you may or may not, and if it's over 2 months old, over 31 days old, you may not get that back. So you're going to still have to have a backup plan, and I recommend you back up cloud to cloud. Now maybe because of medical records you can't, but even if something's in the cloud, don't fall into the false sense of false security that, oh, well, it's backed up. Yeah, it's kind of backed up, but it's not got revisions backed up. It's not got, like we got into trouble. Remember that horrible thing when the engineering drive died at Carlisle? They wanted revisions, and those revisions didn't exist anymore. And so you have to keep, you still have to do your backups, even though it's cloud to cloud or cloud to a NAS or whatever it is. But be aware that anything in the cloud, you still have to back up. I use GoodSync. It's not super industrial speed. It's more or less, for what I use it for, it's fine. But there's Cybernetics, ArcServe, all these companies now, Backup, Exec, all these companies have systems that will do cloud-to-cloud backup. And a lot of them, you can do cloud-to-cloud backup, and the service is actually in the cloud itself, so you're not coming down to your bandwidth and back out. So if you're going cloud to cloud, it's cloud to your backup cloud and to your final destination. But you probably want to have a backup plan in case Google gets hacked or Microsoft gets hacked and your backup is somewhere else. So I just want to bring that up. Last thing, just so you can see what you can do here, is portal.azure.com. And this also interlinks. See, it's assigned into Microsoft Azure now, and it links to the portal. See, I'm going to still go through my same portal password, and I'm into the portal. I'm not 100% sure, how the portal and the Azure are linked. I'm not 100% sure how they are yet. This is still frontier for me. So here's the Azure portal, and it's kind of like an adjunct to the portal itself. But notice here, you can create new virtual machines, and you can create them in a matter of seconds. So if you see over here this IP camera, Ilco IP camera, I was doing some experiments with security systems across the internet, which we're still using. You can set up pay as you go. So this is entirely a server in the cloud. And if you use this address and you do Secure Shell, you can do a Linux logon. So if I wanted to create a server, I can go to New. And notice I can create any one of these servers. These are virtual servers in the cloud. So if I want a 2016 data server, I want a Ubuntu Linux server, SQL server, I don't know what a Cosmos is. You can create to create a basic, I can do networking, virtual network, web and mobile, storage, data lake store, so you can have data lake stores there. AI, cognitive science, Internet of Things. I don't know why it says compute. I don't know why they do that, but you can create a virtual machine here. I'm looking for, I thought they had just a standard computer. Maybe they don't. But if you wanted to create a data center machine, you would click on that, and I would tell you that in a matter of under 10 minutes, you will have a Windows server set up. So if you click there, I'll just click there, and it's going to start right there. Boom. It's everything you need. Type of drive, SSD drives, username, password, confirm password, what type of subscription, access to Active Directory. See, notice down here, save up to 40% of the license you already own. Already have a Windows Server license? You can actually migrate like your standard server licenses you have laying around. I don't know what, I assume that they go back to 2012. I don't think, maybe 2008, I don't know. But you could go here and you could actually take a server that's kind of failing or limping along, or you don't know what to do with it. You can actually migrate that license into here. So save up to 40% with the license you already own. And there is a way to kind of bridge these licenses. I don't know much about it, but I just wanted you to see that. And then you can see your virtual size, your options, and you purchase your 2016 data center machine. And I would say, you know, once you knew all that detail, you'd have your Windows Server up and running in no time. And so the portal and Azure and all this, there's a piece of software you have to put on your server, which I haven't done yet. And that piece of software links you, it links the portal to your local Active Directory. And once that's working, I'll get that working, I'll share it with you. Then you'll see, okay, now I understand how this, you know, so people can access the portal. And from my understanding, through the portal, they can access back down into your local network as well. So it's pretty exciting times with Microsoft. They've really got their act together. So I just want you to know there's the portal.azure.com, and there's, you know, the way you go into it also is portal. This is for Office 365, portal.office, and it will take you. The portal.office.com has this more secure business look to log in, and the www.office.com looks more kind of generic, but they get you to the same place. And then the azure.portal.com, the portal.azure.com, that's where you can set up your virtual machines. Again, you can start off slow and just use this to manage your licensing. You can manage your licensing, you can set up OneDrive for people, then you can set them up, backing up, and from there you would have to set up a backup procedure from here. What I would recommend if you're starting off slow is you might create one of those SharePoint 2 licenses, get 5 terabytes, and it might be under a generic name like, you know, Admin Hospital or something. And then that user, it's a generic user, has that SharePoint 2 license of 5 terabyte, and then you would create directories under that. Then you'd share those directories out with everyone, and then you would use something like GoodSync or, you know, Backup Exec or ArcServe, and you do a cloud-to-cloud backup. You'd back up the data they're saving in the OneDrive cloud. You'd back it up maybe to Google, or you'd back it up to another OneDrive, or another portal, or to a NAS drive, or to another, you know, Amazon Glacier. You know, if you're just storing data there, you can use Amazon service. That way, you know, you've mitigated your risk. You have your system in Microsoft, but you back up to Amazon, for example. Okay, that's a quick overview. I hope it's of some value to you, but that's what I've learned so far with the Office portal. And this is definitely the things you need to know. Everything that they're doing, you know, back at certain X company, it's decades in the past, and Microsoft is moving fast, and they are updating all the time, and they're adding more and more applications. The service, once you buy the portal license, you get tech support, and like I said, it's usually, not always, but it's 90% of the time it's Microsoft India. It doesn't matter to me. And like I said, they own these problems. It's not like, well, you know, it's your problem. No, they have to own it because it's all in their system. You know, they have to own the problem. And I've never had them not help me. I have never had them not fix something. And I never had them like the old Microsoft way of just sloughing you off. And I'll tell you something, and Bill Gavay backs me up on this. We're kind of shocked at Google, because Google's like the old Microsoft that just sloughing you off when you have a super technical problem. Whereas Microsoft, they're on the ball. I mean, they've changed their ways. Okay, I hope this helps.